Millions tune in every week. But what if the real story behind America's most famous church is completely different from what you think? Today, we're opening the doors, past the cameras, past the crowds, and into the truth that few ever dare to talk about. Lakewood Church, led by Joel Osteen, is not just a building, it is a movement. With its congregation swelling to over 50,000 attendees each weekend and reaching millions more through televised broadcasts and online streaming, it has become a global symbol of modern Christianity. But the question arises, why do so many people keep showing up? What is it about this church that resonates so deeply with such a vast audience? The first factor is scale and spectacle. Lakewood Church occupies one of the largest church buildings in the United States, formerly the Compaq Center, a stadium once home to the Houston Rockets. This architectural marvel alone creates a sense of awe and grandeur. Walking into such a space is more than a physical experience. It evokes emotions, excitement, and anticipation. People are drawn not just to the message, but to the environment, a carefully curated space designed to uplift and inspire. The sheer size of the church sends a silent message. This is a place where thousands come together in shared purpose, a community united by faith. Another core element is emotional connection. Joel Osteen's sermons are meticulously crafted to make each listener feel seen, understood, and encouraged. Unlike traditional preaching that might focus heavily on sin and doctrine, Osteen emphasizes hope, personal growth, and the transformative power of faith. This resonates with people who might feel marginalized, overlooked, or disillusioned in their personal lives. The church becomes a safe haven, a space where struggles are acknowledged, but hope is always emphasized. Attendees leave not only spiritually nourished, but emotionally uplifted, carrying that positive energy into the rest of their week. Furthermore, the church thrives on inclusivity and accessibility. People from all walks of life are welcome, regardless of race, economic status, or social background. The sermons are delivered in a language that is easy to understand, free of theological jargon that might alienate newcomers. The atmosphere is intentionally inviting, from the smiling greeters at the entrance to the contemporary music that opens each service. It is this combination of scale, emotional resonance, and inclusivity that has made Lakewood Church a model of the modern mega church phenomenon. Finally, the church's global reach cannot be understated. Televised services, online streaming, podcasts, and social media amplify the church's presence beyond Houston, Texas. Millions tune in weekly from across the globe. The message transcends geography, making Lakewood Church not just a local congregation, but an international spiritual hub. For many, even if they cannot physically attend, the virtual experience provides a similar sense of community and belonging. In essence, the success of Lakewood Church is not simply about numbers. It is about crafting an experience that addresses emotional, spiritual, and social needs simultaneously. This is why millions continue to show up week after week, drawn by the promise of inspiration, hope, and a sense of belonging. The power of positivity, a message that divides the world. Joel Osteen's preaching style is characterized by unrelenting positivity, often referred to as the prosperity gospel or positive confession approach. His message is clear. God wants you to succeed, to be happy, and to live a life of abundance. While this has drawn admiration from millions, it has also sparked intense debate and criticism. Understanding this duality is key to grasping the full impact of Lakewood Church. The first dimension of this message is hope and motivation. Osteen's sermons focus on encouraging people to persevere through life's challenges. Instead of dwelling on guilt, sin, or judgment, he emphasizes that everyone has potential and divine favor is available to all. For individuals facing unemployment, family struggles, health crises, or personal setbacks, this message resonates deeply. It is a practical theology, one that provides comfort and a roadmap for personal growth. Attendees leave feeling energized, optimistic, and ready to face challenges with a renewed sense of purpose. Yet, it is this very positivity that fuels criticism. Many theologians argue that Osteen's approach oversimplifies life's hardships, implying that faith alone guarantees success and happiness. Critics suggest that this message can be misleading, particularly for those in extreme poverty or facing systemic injustices, as it may inadvertently place the burden of failure solely on the individual rather than acknowledging larger societal factors. The perception that the church promotes a blame the believer mentality has sparked heated debates, especially in media and academic circles. Despite this, the power of positivity cannot be denied. In an era marked by social, political, and economic uncertainty, Osteen's message provides a psychological lifeline. Research in positive psychology supports the idea that hope, optimism, and positive reinforcement can improve mental health, resilience, and even physical well-being. By emphasizing what is possible rather than what is lacking, Osteen taps into a universal human need, the desire for affirmation and reassurance. Another significant factor is relatability. Osteen's sermons often include personal anecdotes, modern metaphors, and everyday language. He speaks not as a distant authority, but as a mentor, coach, and friend. This accessibility makes his sermons digestible to a broad audience, including people who might otherwise feel alienated from traditional religious settings. Positivity, in this context, is not merely motivational fluff. It is a strategic tool for engagement, retention, and community building. Finally, the message of positivity extends beyond the pulpit. It permeates Lakewood Church's music, media outreach, and publications. Inspirational books, podcasts, and online content reinforce the same themes, creating a consistent brand of optimism that followers can internalize in their daily lives. For millions, this consistency is life-changing. For others, it raises questions about whether the message is overly commercialized or curated for mass appeal. Ultimately, the power of positivity at Lakewood Church is a double-edged sword. It empowers millions, instilling hope and motivation, while simultaneously inviting scrutiny, with critics questioning its theological and practical implications. Understanding this duality is essential for anyone seeking the untold truth about America's most famous church. It is this tension between inspiration and criticism, hope and skepticism, that defines the unique place Lakewood Church occupies in modern religious discourse. One of the most frequently asked questions about Lakewood Church is, how does a church this big sustain itself? With weekly attendance reaching tens of thousands and millions more tuning in via television and online platforms, the financial and operational mechanisms behind the scenes are complex and often misunderstood. Understanding these systems is key to grasping the real story behind Joel Osteen's church. At its core, Lakewood Church operates as a mega ministry, balancing spiritual objectives with practical financial management. The church is funded primarily through donations, tithes, and offerings from attendees. Millions of people contribute regularly, both in person and online. These contributions form the backbone of the church's operations, supporting staff salaries, building maintenance, charitable initiatives, and global outreach programs. While some critics focus solely on the wealth of the leadership, it's important to understand that running a congregation of tens of thousands requires substantial financial resources, not just for programming, but also for logistics, security, and community services. Another important aspect is the media empire that surrounds Lakewood Church. Joel Osteen's sermons are broadcast globally through television, streaming platforms, and social media. This media presence amplifies the church's reach far beyond Houston, creating a form of spiritual influence that is virtually unparalleled. Broadcast and online content often include calls for donations, encouraging viewers worldwide to support the ministry financially. These funds are not merely for profit. They sustain the global operations and ensure that the church can continue delivering its message to people who may never step foot in Houston. The church also generates revenue through book sales and merchandise. Joel Osteen is a best-selling author, and his books are widely distributed in stores, online, and at the church itself. These publications, while profitable, also serve a spiritual purpose, spreading the message of hope positivity, and faith to a wider audience. Some critics argue that this commercialization blurs the line between ministry and business, raising questions about priorities. Yet, supporters contend that these efforts are essential for modern evangelism, enabling the message to reach millions who might otherwise never engage with traditional church services. Transparency is another frequently debated issue. Like many large institutions, Lakewood Church has faced scrutiny over how funds are allocated. Critics have questioned the salaries of top leadership and the allocation of donations. However, defenders note that the church is registered as a nonprofit, adheres to IRS regulations, and maintains financial accountability mechanisms, even if detailed public disclosure is not always available. The truth is nuanced. Running a global church involves managing vast resources, balancing ministry goals with operational realities, and navigating public perception. Finally, Lakewood Church's financial model allows it to engage in community projects and charitable work. The church participates in disaster relief, local community programs, and global humanitarian efforts. While the scale of giving is sometimes criticized as modest relative to its wealth, these initiatives do demonstrate that the church does contribute tangibly to society. Understanding this balance between ministry, media, and money is essential to appreciating the full operational picture. In essence, the operation of Lakewood Church is a sophisticated blend of spiritual guidance and organizational management. Donations, media presence, book sales, and merchandising work together to sustain a ministry that reaches millions. While the involvement of money naturally invites skepticism, it is also what enables Lakewood to maintain its influence, expand its reach, and continue its mission of spreading hope and faith on a global scale. No mega church or celebrity pastor is immune to scrutiny, and Joel Osteen is no exception. With fame and influence come controversy, criticism, and intense public pressure. To understand the untold truth behind Lakewood Church, it is essential to explore these challenges, both the real ones and those amplified by media narratives. One of the earliest and most cited controversies involves Osteen's stance during natural disasters, particularly Hurricane Harvey in 2017. Critics questioned why the church initially did not open its doors as a shelter, arguing that such a facility could have provided immediate aid to those in need. The situation sparked widespread media coverage and online debate, painting Lakewood Church as unresponsive. However, the reality was more nuanced. The church eventually mobilized resources, opened facilities, and contributed significantly to relief efforts, demonstrating that the initial delay was logistical rather than intentional neglect. This episode illustrates how public perception can differ sharply from operational reality, and how criticism can gain momentum in a digital age where information spreads rapidly. Another area of controversy revolves around the prosperity gospel and theological debates. Critics argue that Osteen's emphasis on positivity, success, and abundance simplifies complex spiritual teachings, potentially creating unrealistic expectations among followers. Some theologians have expressed concern that this approach may encourage materialism or suggest that faith alone guarantees prosperity, potentially marginalizing those who struggle despite sincere belief. While detractors often highlight these issues, supporters emphasize the practical, hope-driven nature of the sermons, noting that millions find comfort and motivation in the message. This divide underscores a key tension. Lakewood Church operates at the intersection of spirituality, psychology, and culture, where interpretation can be deeply subjective. Media scrutiny also amplifies controversies around wealth and leadership. As a high-profile figure, Joel Osteen's personal wealth has been widely discussed, with critics questioning the ethics of a pastor living in a multi-million-dollar home while receiving donations from congregants. It is important to recognize, however, that the scale of the church's operation requires significant logistical support, and salaries are often commensurate with the responsibilities involved. Furthermore, Osteen himself has stated that the church's wealth is primarily directed toward sustaining the ministry and expanding outreach, not personal indulgence. Yet public scrutiny continues to be a defining aspect of the church's existence. In addition to external criticism, Lakewood Church navigates internal challenges, managing a congregation of tens of thousands, staff members numbering in the hundreds, and a global media presence is no small feat. Disagreements on management decisions, resource allocation, and ministry priorities naturally occur. While internal conflicts are rarely publicized in detail, they contribute to the broader narrative that running a mega church is a complex endeavor requiring careful diplomacy and strategic planning. Finally, social and cultural criticism has also played a role. In an increasingly polarized society, churches that rise to prominence often become symbols in broader debates about religion, politics, and societal values. Lakewood Church, with its televised reach and celebrity leadership, is frequently placed under a microscope. Supporters view Osteen as a beacon of hope and positivity, while critics see him as a symbol of commercialization and oversimplification. This dual perception reflects the larger tension in modern religious discourse, the need to balance spiritual authenticity, cultural relevance, and public accountability. In conclusion, the controversies surrounding Lakewood Church illustrate the challenges of leading a mega ministry in the digital era. From disaster response and theological debates to wealth scrutiny and public perception, the church navigates a landscape filled with praise and criticism alike. Understanding these dynamics is crucial to seeing the full picture, beyond headlines and sound bites, of what it truly means to run one of the largest and most influential churches in the world. When discussing Lakewood Church and Joel Osteen's ministry, it is easy to focus on controversy, criticism, and operational mechanics. However, to understand the full picture, one must examine the real impact the church has had on individuals, communities, and even global audiences. Beyond sermons, media appearances, and book sales, Lakewood Church has transformed lives in ways that are often unseen, but profoundly significant. To one, transforming individual lives at the heart of any religious institution is its effect on personal faith and growth, and Lakewood Church excels in this domain. Countless testimonies reveal that individuals who attend the church or engage with Osteen's teachings experience meaningful changes in their outlook, confidence, and sense of purpose. For some, the transformation is spiritual, a renewed belief in God's presence, a strengthened prayer life, or a deeper connection to their faith. For others, the transformation is psychological, emotional, or even practical, as Osteen's messages of hope and resilience help them navigate difficult life circumstances. Consider, for example, people facing job loss, financial struggles, or health crises. Osteen's sermons emphasize that adversity is not the end, but a stepping stone toward growth and greater opportunity. Listeners are encouraged to focus on solutions, trust in divine timing, and maintain a positive mindset. Psychologists note that such an approach aligns with modern cognitive behavioral principles, where optimism and constructive thinking can lead to improved mental health and problem-solving skills. This intersection of spirituality and practical psychology is a hallmark of Lakewood Church's influence. Moreover, the language of inclusion and accessibility ensures that transformation is not limited to traditional churchgoers. Osteen's message reaches people who might have felt alienated from organized religion, those who struggled with guilt, shame, or previous negative experiences with faith. By offering a welcoming, non-judgmental approach, the church provides a platform where individuals feel safe to explore faith without fear of condemnation. The impact, therefore, is both personal and deeply human, addressing emotional, spiritual, and social dimensions simultaneously. 2. Global reach and accessibility. Lakewood Church is not confined to Houston or even the United States. Its global influence is a critical aspect of its real impact. Through television broadcasts, online streaming, podcast, and social media, Osteen's messages reach millions in multiple countries and continents. The church's online presence ensures that individuals who cannot attend physically can still participate virtually, creating a sense of global community. This global reach has significant implications. For people in countries where religious freedom may be restricted or traditional churches are less accessible, Lakewood Church provides an alternative way to engage with faith. Online sermons, live streams, and translated content break geographical and cultural barriers, allowing millions to experience a form of spiritual connection. In effect, the church functions as a digital ministry, offering support, hope, and guidance across borders and languages. The accessibility factor also extends to demographics often overlooked by traditional churches, such as young adults, single parents, or working professionals. The modern presentation style, uplifting music, relatable anecdotes, and multimedia sermons speaks to a contemporary audience that values both inspiration and practicality. This innovative approach ensures that the church remains relevant in an era where attention spans are short and spiritual engagement is highly competitive. 2, 3. Stories of hope and personal transformation. Perhaps the most compelling evidence of Lakewood Church's impact comes from real life testimonies. These stories, shared during services on social media or through church outreach programs, highlight how Osteen's message has changed lives in tangible ways. People speak of overcoming addiction, rebuilding broken relationships, finding purpose after career setbacks, or gaining the courage to pursue dreams previously deemed impossible. For instance, a single mother might testify that attending Lakewood Church empowered her to secure stable employment and provide for her children despite overwhelming odds. A young adult struggling with self-esteem issues may credit Osteen's teachings with instilling confidence, perseverance, and a sense of divine purpose. These individual transformations, while personal, collectively illustrate a broader societal impact, a community of hope, resilience, and faith emerging through the church's influence. Additionally, these testimonies often inspire others, creating a ripple effect. Hearing someone's story of triumph or transformation motivates others to engage with the church, try new approaches to their challenges, or adopt a more optimistic worldview. This cycle of inspiration and encouragement strengthens the church's role as not just a spiritual center, but a catalyst for personal development. 2-4. Social and community engagement. Lakewood Church extends its impact beyond individuals into local and global communities. While critics sometimes argue that the church's charitable efforts are modest compared to its financial resources, evidence suggests that its initiatives have made a real difference in disaster relief, education, and social support. For example, following natural disasters such as hurricanes or floods, Lakewood Church mobilizes volunteers, donations, and relief supplies to affected communities. These efforts, often coordinated on a massive scale, demonstrate a tangible commitment to service. Moreover, the church sponsors local programs, ranging from mentorship for youth to support for the elderly, reinforcing its presence as a socially responsible institution. This combination of spiritual guidance and community engagement amplifies the church's influence. People are not only inspired through sermons, but also empowered to take action, serve others, and make a positive difference. In this sense, the real impact of Lakewood Church extends far beyond spiritual teachings. It creates networks of service, support, and social transformation. 5. Cultural influence and modern faith. Lakewood Church also wields influence in the broader cultural and religious landscape. Its modern approach to worship, media use, and outreach has shaped how megachurches operate in the 21st century. By integrating technology, motivational communication, and contemporary aesthetics, Osteen's ministry has redefined the perception of what a church can be. This cultural shift is significant because it encourages other religious institutions to adopt more inclusive, engaging, and media-savvy approaches. Lakewood Church has essentially set a benchmark for modern faith communities where accessibility, relatability, and positivity are as important as traditional doctrines. Its impact is therefore structural, changing not only individual lives, but also the way religion is practiced and perceived on a societal level. 2-6. Criticism versus impact. It is essential to acknowledge that while Lakewood Church has undeniably impacted millions, Its methods and messages are not universally accepted. Critics point to the commercialization of faith, the potential oversimplification of complex spiritual teachings, and the church's wealth as areas of concern. However, the persistence and growth of its global following indicate that the net effect is largely positive for its audience. Millions find hope, direction, and community where they might otherwise find despair or isolation. In other words, while controversy and skepticism are part of the narrative, they do not negate the genuine transformations experienced by countless individuals. The church's ability to inspire, motivate, and mobilize people remains a powerful testament to its impact. 2:7. The long-term legacy, finally, the long-term legacy of Lakewood Church is worth considering. Beyond weekly attendance numbers and media impressions, the church leaves an enduring imprint on the lives it touches. Individuals carry lessons learned from sermons into workplaces, schools, families, and communities. The values of optimism, perseverance, and hope resonate across generations, creating a spiritual ripple effect that is difficult to quantify but impossible to ignore. This legacy is compounded by the church's global presence. With content available online indefinitely, future generations can access teachings, testimonies, and resources long after live services occur. This ensures that Lakewood Church remains a lasting influence, shaping both faith and culture in ways that extend far beyond the immediate congregation. As we've explored today, Lakewood Church and Joel Osteen's ministry are more than just headlines or controversies. From the massive crowds and global reach to the stories of transformation and hope, this church has left an undeniable mark on millions of lives around the world. Whether you agree with every aspect or not, it's impossible to ignore the influence it has had on modern faith and spiritual culture. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time to dive into this story with us. Your support means the world. Every like, comment, and share helps us bring more in-depth, thought-provoking content to you and millions of others. We'd love to hear from you. What's your perspective on mega churches like Lakewood? Do you believe they inspire hope, or do they raise questions about modern faith? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive like this. Together, let's continue exploring the untold truths and hidden stories that shape our world. Thanks to watch, subscribe the channel, to press bell icon,